Good evening. My name is Daire Hancock, and the last time we met, I was making cookies for you in my kitchen. Tonight I'm going to speak to you about a much more difficult topic, a much more serious topic, and that is the topic of abortion. This is a topic that has our country completely split 50-50, one end of the aisle or the other. And yet there seems to be only 25% of those who are emphatically either against it or for it. So there seems to be 50% there in the middle who could be persuaded one way or the other to lean either to the left or to the right on the topic. I am hoping tonight that through my speech that I can persuade you to understand and believe that abortion is absolutely, unequivocally wrong. I am not only going to speak to you as someone who has done much research on the topic, I'm also going to speak to you from someone who has been touched by it. Let's begin the speech. I'm going to talk to you tonight on scientifically why it is wrong, legally why it is wrong, and morally why it is wrong. Scientifically, when does a fetus become a human? Is it at the first heartbeat? Is it at the first brainwave? Or is it 8 months, 9 months, or is it at delivery? I truly believe that a fetus becomes a human and has life at the moment of conception. Unequivocally, it's at conception. And through my research and looking through medical journals and studying through this, I have seen that even liberal doctors and doctors from Harvard, where you would think that they absolutely would not view this that way, they certainly do. There is in the medical textbook, Human Embryology and Teratology, it states that fertilization is an important landmark because under ordinary circumstances, a new genetically distinct human organism is formed. And also from a medical doctor, it states from Dr. Matthews Roth, a Harvard medical doctor, she states it is scientifically correct to say that an individual human life begins at conception. So if we can take that argument that human life does indeed begin at conception, how is it that we will allow such a law where a mother has the right to end that life based on either an inconvenience, whether it be rape, whether it's an abnormality in the fetus, or if it's incest? Are those all legal rights that that mother has a right to end the pregnancy, to terminate it? A lot of pro-abortion people would state that people who are raped, or if there's a matter of incest, or if there's a matter of an abnormality in the fetus, that they have the right to end the pregnancy. But it was shocking to discover that those are less than 1% of all abortions performed. So out of the 1.3 million abortions that are performed annually just here in the United States, less than 1% have those circumstances. And for me personally, I have a cousin who was told during her pregnancy that her daughter would be born with a genetic defect that would hinder her for the rest of her life, that she would not be able to walk, and yet, miraculously, that child was born perfect. So even in those cases where it states that the child is going to be born with some type of abnormality, there is still even less than that, because there are those where that circumstance just does not ever come to fruition. And as far as rape, being a rape victim myself at the age of 22 years old, I, on a date, did find myself in that situation, and 1 month later I would find that it resulted in a pregnancy. Now that pregnancy could have been terminated because it was brought on by such horrific circumstances, and yet I chose to bring that child through the entire pregnancy and give them up for adoption. And I say them because it turned out that it was a set of twins. Being a twin myself, it was extremely difficult to give up the only set of twins that I would carry. But I was able to bless my pastor at the time and his wife, who were unable to have children. So they now have 2 wonderful, beautiful daughters, and I have never regretted that decision and still don't. So I can speak to you stating that although it was extremely difficult to carry those children in my body, feel them moving, I knew with certainty that those children were not the ones who needed to be punished. They were not the ones whose lives needed to be ended or terminated based on what had happened to me. They were innocent, and they deserved the same life that I was given. It is unbelievable to me that a mother can determine that the fetus can become a person or cannot become a person based upon her decision, and her decision alone. So she has the right to state whether her fetus should become a person through delivery, or if it should not become a person through abortion. And through that, we as a nation had described these fetuses as medical blobs, that they don't have any feelings, that they don't feel anything. Well, that is an absolute fallacy. They do feel, and they do have feelings, and they can feel the abortion. They can feel themselves being ripped apart. So that a mother, that we legalize a right that a mother has to do this, is abhorrent to me. She is not allowed to take drugs during her pregnancy because she could be charged with child abuse. She is not allowed to kill her born child. That would be considered murder. So it is unbelievable to me that we allow a woman to make the decision whether her child should live or whether her child should die when it is inside of her. Yet she is not granted that right if it is outside of her, even moments after delivery.